fair, I don't use Twitter that much. My dents go automatically to Twitter, so really I'm on Identica most of the time. But I was just browsing, as was at a loose end, and browsing through some of my followers, and I get very annoyed because I get followed by a lot of Microsoft bots. Some of them are retweet bots. And I don't see why they're doing this. I don't know why a Microsoft bot would have an interest in following me, and I don't like it. And I don't want an association, because when people look at, certainly when I'm choosing people to follow on either Twitter or Identica, I tend to look at their followers to see what sort of people are following that person. And if it's somebody who's like-minded as me, then they'll have similar followers. And I don't like to be associated with Microsoft bots. So what I did is I sent a direct message to these people, and it was a very polite message. I wouldn't want to be rude, and I never advocate people being rude online, and asked them just could they please unfollow me because I don't wish to be associated with Microsoft. And they sent one back. Now, I don't know how much experience any of the listeners have had talking to Microsoft people, but certainly in my case, Microsoft people never ever seem to speak normally. They don't speak like normal human beings. And you can guarantee whenever you ask a question, you don't get a normal answer like a yes or a no. You'll get an answer that maybe lasts a few pages full of buzzwords and slogans and PR. And all I asked was for Microsoft to stop following me, and they sent back the message, which was along the lines of, thanks for reaching out. We'll follow your request. I'm just trying to desperately grab it up now for you to, so I can read it out exactly. But it was obvious to me, it was signed off by a chap called Peter. Now, I don't know whether Peter's a real person. I've got no reason to believe that he was fake. But here's the message. I'll read it out to you. Hi, Tim. Thanks for reaching out. As per your request, we'll unfollow. Best wishes with your blog and podcast. Cheers, Peter. Well, looking down the list of tweets from this account, this Microsoft account that was following me, there was very few occasions when they've signed off with a name, they've posted whatever they're posting. And it struck me as very strange that somebody called Peter from the and I'll name the Twitter account here. It's a Microsoft support KB. I think KB stands for knowledge base.
Yep.
Why somebody from there would know that I have a podcast and a blog and sign off as Peter with a sickly sweet thank you for reaching out message, which I wasn't reaching out. I was asking them to stop following me. That's not reaching out. But would be following me in the first place. I don't quite know what Microsoft Knowledge Base expects to find on my blog in respect of helping their service for helping their customers online. So it was a bit of a mystery, but it's a typical thing. I thought it was actually very clever, because if you were just to read the two separate tweets, my tweet and their tweet, it would look like they're being very friendly, very reasonable. I want to know why these people can't talk normally. Thanks for reaching out. So you wouldn't talk to somebody like that on the street if they came and asked you a question. It's
maybe I don't know. I'm guessing maybe it's an intentionally provocative thing.
Yes. Yeah.
If they know that you are very much against Microsoft and against their products, their ethics, then they're going to try to make themselves into being the nice guy, and they wanted you to explode and say, why the F did you do this, and please just F and unfollow me and whatever, and then they look like the reasonable. Yeah. But I was going to say, the wee joke that I missed out on, didn't get a chance to say, was, why would you have any problems with Microsoft? They're the most ethical company on the planet. Carry on.
Yes. I mean, what it certainly doesn't annoy me, but you'll get people, and I resent calling them advocates, because I don't think they're Microsoft advocates in the true sense of how every normal person understands that word. But they make out that this is some sort of paranoia. Now, this is one example of Microsoft contact me. I've had Microsoft managers, senior managers, comment on my site. I've had Microsoft MVPs name shifting and changing their identity to push Microsoft products on my site. And this is just one example. This isn't paranoia. This is something that anybody can test if they dare to write a blog or write an article which suggests that there is an alternative other than Microsoft. And it's very unnerving in one respect to have a company like as massive as Microsoft having certain people who are willing to follow me to this level. I mean, I couldn't tell you if Microsoft KB ever have their own podcast show to help with.
They might be following me as well. I'm not sure. I have dozens of accounts associated with Microsoft following me personally, and I think it's supposed to encourage a certain feeling of guilt or a certain feeling that you write negative things about them, and they will watch it. I even have Microsoft actually vice presidents and things before following me,
Well,
and sometimes responding to things that they're not supposed to. I don't think they're and creating sympathy, saying, "Oh, we're so sorry that this happened to you." And I had this type of thing happen to me. These are people whom I criticize for doing corrupt things for OXML, and they try to make me like their friend and sympathizing with me. But one of the things that I should point out is with open source, they really know how to play this game. What they do is they always pretend to be this victim that nobody wants to play with at the sandbox. Of course, the truth is Microsoft is suing open source and threatening and throwing FUD, but they will try to see that you're the irrational people, we want to play with you, and they also select the staff in a very wise way. Now, I don't want to say anything about sometimes there is a selection of female representatives or ethnic minorities and things like that, but Microsoft also knows how to position the certain types of people with certain types of even personality, and the way they speak, the things they say, the people who they speak to, the way they approach people, they know how to make the open source community look intolerant when they stand up on a stage and they say, "We are Microsoft, we are the open source company, and we would like to play with you." And then people will say to the person on stage, which of course is not going to be Steve Ballmer, they'll say something like, "Well, you attack us, and we do this, and you that." And then they'll play the victim and say, "Oh, I didn't do anything to you. It's just those people somewhere in the company, and I have nothing to do with them, and I'm so sorry." And that puts the burden on the person actually making a very valid complaint about the company. So they always position themselves with the right people in the right place with the right words to play the victim. We are the intolerant ones, and Microsoft, which is suing all those companies and threatening and all that, they're just we are just completely crazy, and they are the rational professional people. And it's a game they play. They do play it intentionally. It's not a coincidence. They know how to do that.
Well, I'd kindly ask them, sorry, just very quickly, I'd kindly ask them, in my case, obviously they're more than welcome to read my tweets, they're more than welcome to read my blog. I'm not frightened by knowing that Microsoft reads my site or certain employees from Microsoft, but I would ask them kindly not to follow me because, like I say, I don't like the association that I may get if I have many Microsoft bots and Twitter accounts follow me. And the other question, very briefly, because I'm going to be leaving the mic for about 5 or 10 minutes while I do some family duties. But the question I would like to know is how many Twitter accounts does Microsoft actually have? And the mind boggles really because over the years I've been using Twitter, I've seen numerous ones. I wouldn't like to put a number on that, but there's been many. So maybe that's a question that one of our listeners or somebody who reads the site can answer because I've got no clue and I wouldn't like to put a number on it. One thing's for sure, they are flooding Twitter. There's certainly more than 10 Twitter accounts that belong to Microsoft, I think it's fair to say. So if you can answer that, Roy or Gordon, I'd love to hear it. But in the meantime, I'm going to put the mic down for 5 minutes, go and do my family duties, and I'll be back hopefully in the middle of a great debate between the two of you that I can interrupt.
Probably, I just want to go first. Very quickly, the operators of these accounts, they won't be Microsoft employees. So Microsoft will be able to point a finger and say, well, this is managed by this PR company that we happen to hire. And very often they will just kind of offshore the responsibility or liability as well as the fact that somebody else is going to do that for Microsoft. It could be a temporary employee. It could be a company that will fall into some sort of a blunder. But then they'll be able to blame some company like Edelman or whatever. And this is what not just Microsoft, all kinds of companies do that. And the second thing is Microsoft is not just the company Microsoft, it's all these people who will kind of surround the company and benefit from the company. So it'll be like Microsoft MVPs, and it will be business partners, it will be even fans, like maybe they do have some fans, but I don't think they have proportionally high number of fans. So all these accounts are on Microsoft. I mean, some of them are obviously generated for a purpose of just marketing, just PR firms managing these accounts. I know that a company called Wagner Edstrom, I think, that's the PR agency, which was actually mushrooming out of Microsoft, I think in the 80s, from a lady called, I think, Laura. She was the PR agent of the company. They have grown tremendously since then, and they are one of the most powerful, I think it is the most powerful PR agency of Microsoft. And they advertised publicly the fact that they have all kinds of software which they built in-house to track people on Twitter, to follow trends or whatever, and to participate. It isn't the only company which came out of Microsoft, perhaps being run by Microsoft people too, which has tools, automated software tools, to do things like automated reply or